It wasn't too bad for 2-0, but losing Amon Ra on the Yank kind of did it for them. You do see Evil Corporation here. Going to use Sandwraith ulti once again, actually, and kind of pursuing at the bottom lane. But Circe, he did actually get the counter, and now Deadwood jumps in. Down goes Sandwraith. Wild Soul, he's trying to hold his ground. Undying is not up for Lord South Forest, so can't use it right here, and down goes Deadwood. Lord South Forest, in fact, speaking of him, he's trying to run away now. Looks like he is going to be able to accomplish that unless they stun. No, they're not going to go for it. He'll be fine. But they did pick off Sandwraith, who does have that Mock of Brilliance, as we see. So the good news there. Amon Ra is about 400 gold per minute, even despite the death that he did have there in the last fight. This is a hero that will farm pretty well.
Yeah, it's just, if you compare it to the Wild Soul, it's very far behind compared to the Wild Soul. And that's kind of the problem with the hero. Sure, it farms fast, but it doesn't farm as fast as Wild Soul. And it doesn't do what Wild Soul does. So that is kind of the downfall of this hero. But, I mean, he could make it work. So he did go post-haste, actually. I just noticed that.
Yeah. Interesting there. He comes to the bottom lane with it and going to continue to push out again. You do see the Shaman's Headdress, the Helm of the Black Legion. So as we're talking about, speculating, at least for those two, he does end up going that. Now, where does he go from here is the question. Will he go maybe somewhere like the Demonic even? You say that Deadwood maybe could try to get that, but is that going to be his item here? So
maybe I'd like to see him pick up a portal key almost.
Okay.
Could be pretty good this game to jump the back or really anything. I mean, if he could stop this Lodestone from jumping in on his team, I mean, that would be game-changing by itself. So, yeah, maybe a portal key.
Yeah, portal key for that initiation. Definitely to follow up even. Could be pretty impactful here. Jumping in with that Ignite. Some good burst damage off the bat. And, of course, the Comet, or the Path of Destruction, as it's labeled, to follow it up. Could be something here. Dark Liddy also continuing to get her some decent farm. Is happening. 430 gold per minute. There we go with a Firebrand. So she didn't feel like she needed a shrunken head here at this point. Being pretty confident with her build, and is going to Charging Strikes away as they actually try to catch her right there. So that's a good getaway. There are TPs coming in. I don't know if they're going to be able to catch necessarily, but they're going to actually. They do catch Midas, and Midas goes down off the bat. The Undying was applied to Wild Soul, I believe, as here comes a Shatterstorm, though. Moira running out of that cover of darkness goes out. It's chaos all over the place. Sandwraith, the Circe Sandwraith will go down, but so does the real one does stay alive. It's just too much, man. Wild Soul did fall, however. Again, the Undying tune work as expected, and now Lodestone on the run. I don't know how far he's going to be able to get. The portal key in 5 seconds. There's a Rocket Drill. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Oh, going to be reset there. And now Lodestone is going to be caught. So Zane goes down, and 2-0. Again, these counter picks are coming through. The Lord South Forest, especially, and the Circe. That's now back-to-back fights. She was able to take over Sandwraith right here.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of like you said, it was the counter picks to what, of course, Legion picked strong heroes, but Hellborn picked into those strong heroes and just picked their counters. So, very interesting fight there. I mean, them winning that fight was a little surprising because they were down by about, I think, 5K-ish gold, like 5K experience. So, definitely a good fight. And this Rock did pick up a Bulwark, so he's going to be working on Demonic himself.
Yeah. So that Soul's Bulwark here, and continuing with the tank style, but can also now start assisting with some right clicks here once he finishes that Demonic Breastplate at least. And you have use for this Hellborn side. Lord South Forest, 3,200 gold saved up. Not too shabby. It really feels like 2-0 has kind of started to get ahead themselves now. And you got Sandwraith, he's working on the Resto Stone first, but he really is going to need the the Staff of the Master before he can feel a little more comfortable, at least against the Circe, because without that, Circe is still going to have pretty free reign on taking him over.
I'd really like to see... I do like this Imba Boy build. I just would prefer to see the Staff of the Master before the Resto Stone. That's kind of how I've always felt, especially being against the Circe. He could actually stop the Circe, getting him. So, I don't really know how I feel like when the Resto first this game. I would have liked to see the Staff first.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, too, and I believe I've talked with Nier about this, I believe, about how Imba Boy does it. where I don't know if we'll be able to catch it. I mean, these fights, again, they happen so quickly and everything, but being the smart player that he is and a lot of experience on this and a matchup like this that he has, you got to be careful with, again, using your ultimate and kind of giving Cersei your items and, you know, your abilities and everything. The abilities you can't help, but dropping a Resto Stone, using your ultimate, then picking it up after that, it will mean your illusions don't have that Resto Stone. So when Cersei goes to take it over, she won't actually get that Resto Stone as a result of that. So that's kind of the key right there. You could even say both and multiple items when you do that.
Yeah. But I mean, if he did go staff first, he could just stop the Cersei ult in general. So
yeah.
I mean, I do agree with Nira. I mean, I trust Imba, I know, one of the best carries in the game. So, if he feels comfortable doing it, then all power to him.
Bottom line here, and man, the more I'm looking at this Hellborn team, again, they got the Amon-Ra, of course, Lord Salforus for that matter. They got a couple of really beefy heroes here, in those two alone. Especially the way Amon-Ra is building, and again, Lord Salforus kind of just naturally being that way with, especially the life tap and the passive up his in that Dark Lord's presence here. So this is not going to be an easy team to kill off by any means here on the Legion side. Granted, Wild Soul, he's going to be a big part of that. He does have his Wingbow now, continuing that farm pretty well here. 540 gold per minute coming out for Tank of Fed. So, again, kind of continuing a trend of being just fine. And it is interesting to me. I honestly thought he was going to even finish off a full Abyssal Skull, maybe go that Demonic. It just feels like that's the way that Tank of Fed likes to play. You know, we see him do that on, like, Parasite all the time even. But he actually does go the Wingbow and the Shrunk. Like, he's trying to play now. I wonder if that kind of was because of maybe how the game was looking. He's trying to be more of the carry here.
I think the Abyssal against the Salforus just wouldn't be worth it. I mean, really the only hero that can use it is Sandwraith. And, I mean, yeah, you get the armor from it, but the team's pretty... I mean, the Hellborn team is pretty... Like, it's a mix of everything. There's a lot of magic, there's a lot of physical. So I think he just figures the Wingbow because it'll just help him survive the autos. And, I mean, if that is the case, then it would be a good pickup, but, yeah.
Well, we'll see what he goes for next now. 1,200 gold currently saved up, and again, the other downside of going up against the Cersei here too is that, you know, we've seen Sandwraith where they'll use their Mirage every once in a while, if anything, just to simply kind of scout to see how things are going. You can't do that. You can't do that against a Cersei because obviously she will just then take over the illusion and do it back right at you and cause issues there. So you really can only save it for when you're actually planning to initiate into a fight, and that definitely takes away a bit from the hero as well. And again, I know we jumped into the drafting stage late, but man, you would think that if they were planning it, you know what probably happened? They probably picked it up in the first three, and then they responded with Cersei in those first three. So I guarantee you if they had a chance to ban Cersei in the second tier of bans, I mean, they would have if you're a corporation.
Yeah, I think so too. They probably just picked it relatively early.
Yeah. So it's clearly proven to be the great pick here as something that after having to deal with. Amon-Ra, man, I gotta say, I've heard the stories and kind of just know on paper that this hero has potential to farm pretty well, and, you know, again, kind of that pub stomp style of hero, but seeing it in action in a competitive match here of two very good teams going at it here, Vivo Corporation versus 2-0, it's impressive. It's almost like, part of me is almost like, man, why don't we see this hero a little bit more? Like, where are the Amon-Ras? Competitive scene.
I think it's just, it soaks up so much farm, but, I mean, this Hellborn team's doing so well. I mean, Dark Lady's almost at 500, and Pexu on Salforus is almost above, or is above 400, so they're spreading the farm very well, and, yeah, it's just benefiting them, because now they have 3 cores that are 3 very farmed heroes.
Yeah. That is true, yeah. I think that is a good point, especially going the post haste on top of that. But that's where it's also maybe good is that he is able to transition elsewhere, kind of allow another farming hero to go to a certain area where he can get to another place easier with having that post haste. So, however they're doing it, you're right. They are managing to actually do it pretty well. I mean, Dark Lady 500, you got Amon-Ra 490, about Lord Salforus in that 425 mark. He has the Sheep Stick now, so having those 3 heroes. Granted, on the other side, you have a Sandwraith and Wild Soul who are over 500 GPM, actually. So really is a lot of gold in general. being farmed this game, man. I mean, that's actually pretty impressive now that I really think about it. That's not a you don't see 5 heroes ultimately that are 400 plus gold per minute in a game, especially 28.5 minutes in on opposing teams even. But that's what we got here. I mean, both teams have managed to actually farm very well, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's all being spread around, too. I mean, even Midas is going to be above 400 as well, and that's going to be the 6th hero, which means their heroes are just matching. Their cores are matching. Carries are going to be above 500. The junglers are above 500, and the mids. So, pretty interesting game.
Lodestone. It's been a little bit here since we've seen action, and again, I really think that comes back to ECX almost getting a little scared now, realizing these last couple of fights and how they got. And you see right there, he tries to jump Amon-Ra. Just kind of walks it off. Lodestone maybe going a little too early. Didn't wait for Wildsell to necessarily get there in time, but at the same time, Amon-Ra, it seemed like he was also starting to fall back, so kind of had to go now or never type of deal. So tries, comes up short. Demonic Breastplate, I mean, he has enough gold to finish it here. We'll see if he actually does that or wants to save for buyback. But again, Amon-Ra, he is interesting when it comes to that. You could argue that you don't really need to be worried about buyback on this hero because of his ultimate.
Yeah, and I mean, he has 4,200 gold saved up. He's going to finish the Demonic here any second. And he's just going to be so tanky, and this Legion team's going to have a problem dealing with the tankiness of, I mean, this whole Hellborn lineup. Deadwood, Raw, and South Forest.
Frostburn finished on Dark Letty. You see. Now, I don't know. I'm getting kind of caught up here myself because I'm having an argument with my inner self here in terms of what does ECX do here with the pace of this game? Because clearly they're content on farming, and I guess it's going to come down to the staff of the Master on Sandwraith. But I would think if you're Evil Corporation here, you're not feeling very confident on this game lasting a long time.
No, and they really shouldn't be, because if they get another sheep somewhere on this Hellborn team, Wildsoul is just going to blow up between South Forest and Raw, and then it's just Sandwraith. So yeah, they're not in a great position. I mean, they really need to finish the staff and start forcing as soon as they can.
Yeah. And you kind of keeping an eye on that staff, of course, and we'll see when he is able to pick it up here and what kind of play they make from it. But that really is going to be that absolute key moment here, no doubt. But the longer that does take here, ever so slightly, again, you're going to have bigger items here. The Demonic, most noticeably in Raw. In fact, I don't even know if he's going the Demonic. He might go that Sheep Stick, as you're pointing out.
Yeah.
The portal key that he has.
Yeah, and another thing also I didn't even really point out is Cersei can actually make illusions of Raw and farm with the illusions, because it does get hit E, I believe. Yeah. It should get Ashes to Ashes, so.
It does.
Yeah, and even see Cersei's GPM maybe start rising soon.
That's a really good point. You know, Legionnaire's a hero that comes to mind if you happen to have a Cersei as a good partner for that reason alone. She can actually really farm pretty well. You know, there is the idea of the Moon Queen combination with her, you know, with those illusions. And I will say, I don't know if we've seen a lot of that from Cyrox here, but to be fair, this game, you already pointed out, there's a lot of farm going around. And to try to also have Cersei join the party on that, it may not be the best choice. You know, to soak up even more. So maybe that's kind of the argument to be made, that it's fine that she's not maybe doing it that constant. But at the very least, you should be doing it for scouting purposes. We do see right here she does spawn a couple of Amon-Ras and is going to send him to the bottom lane. Oh, one already died. Wow, she has like a ring in it. It didn't seem like they lasted that long.
Yeah.
25 seconds. Okay.
I mean, yeah, look at this. Just can push out the lane himself down here. So.
Nope. It's dead.
Yeah. Even then, though, it's still it's going to be strong just for pushing out lanes. Just spawn 2 illusions, send them into a lane, and just start pushing it out.
Yeah.
Oh, and a heart was finished on Raw.
Wow. Oh, wow. Middle lane, meanwhile, Lord South Forest, he gets caught. He is going to be jumped and killed. Dark Lady joining the party, though. A couple of hits. The Arcane Vortex he used, however, sucking her in. Amon-Ra standing his ground with that Behemoth's Heart. He's just below half-life. He does have the rebirth, though, of course. He's going to jump back in, ignite onto Wildsoul. Wildsoul's just running this whole time. He does not want to fight right here. I think that's a pretty good reason for that. So you did see Sandwraith. He actually ultied. He did double ulti, in fact. throughout the midst of that fight. It was hard to tell, but Cersei was actually killed in the well, by the way. So that's what they're doing right now. They're trying to actually just have her sit in the well, but that didn't even work apparently. Over there.
I guess the illusion to this is that. I wonder if Sandra ported in and just insta-killed her and then refreshed and then went out. I didn't actually see where Sandraith was that entire time, but...
Not neither.
So, I mean, if he did port in to just get the instant kill on Cersei and then... Because Cersei didn't get the ulti off from Sandraith, so that's what I'm assuming happened.
That's a good point. Maybe he did do that. Maybe that's his idea to kind of counter it. But if that's the case, I mean, I feel like that's... Again, he kind of maybe has to, but that's spending a lot of your resources to just take out the main support of the other team going into a fight.
Yeah, I mean... If he has to commit that much, I mean, he's basically committing an ulti to a Cersei, and really not what you want, especially against this 3-core lineup here on the Hellborn side. So it is getting a little bit scary here for ECX. I know the gold lead says that they are ahead, but
yeah.
I mean, you see in the Wild Souls, the GPM is kind of starting to flatten a little bit. He's been 500, 550 to 560 for the last 10-15 minutes. So. He's kind of hasn't been farming as much, been getting more farm to Sandraith and Midas, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that golden experience right now might as well be 0. It's obviously so minute at 35 minutes into a game, so, but no doubt on paper, it does seem like that 2-0 is in the better spot as we kind of now are over this hump here of ECX and needing to try to make a play. And, yeah, you mentioned also the Amun-Ra going that full Behemoth Sard here. So he's sitting at 3,000 life right now. But the cool thing about that, he has an ability that actually, I was going to say his Ignite, the more health he has, the more damage it does on top of that. So in items like a Behemoth Sard, it's actually enhancing his damage ultimately too. On top of course, just, well, his abilities using his health to use them. So the massive regen that the Behemoth Heart especially brings is very good. In that sense. And he already has another 3,000 gold. So, again, the Demonic Breastplate is actually still going to be finished before another fight, most likely.
Yeah, he's very farmed. And, I mean, Dark Lady's even getting close to her wing bow. So, there's a lot of items coming up here on this Hellborn side. And I don't know if Sandraith and Wild Soul can compete with this. It's going to get a little close. I mean, it's going to be a lot on Midas getting a good sheep off.
See the bottom lane, Lodestone. He's trying to maybe set up for... Oh, I guess he has a ward on him, yeah. He is going to set up the ward aside at the bottom lane down here. Get some vision, maybe a snipe chance on somebody eventually. Also protect this bottom lane down here. As we do see, as there's the Demonic onto Amun-Ra. So he does right-click it. Speaking of that, of course, Wild Soul has his own, as well as that Abyssal Skull. So we eventually get to that point here of the auras. Just... needed a little bit more time to do so. And now you do have Imbo Boy. He's trying to progress into a little bit more damage route. But again, Cersei, that's where she's always going to be a threat. And it's going to be those mind games, the next level plays. You see Cersei even porting back to base right here. She sends out an illusion. Again, I think it's just simply because she's getting ready for a fight. Like she wants to be in the well, basically, when and if Sandraith uses that ultimate to try to initiate. Coming up here, so not the most fun and entertaining support game, but do what it takes to win games. Makes sense here.
Yeah, and I mean this would, I mean ECX really needs an actual win here. They don't want to draw again. I mean they've already lost a lot of points, so them drawing. I think have they played Sync or Complexity yet?
I would have to pull it back up.
Yeah, I mean, if they haven't, I mean, those are the 3 best teams right now. So if they aren't winning these games, it's just gonna be harder and harder for them to actually get those points.
Yeah. They split against BMG. We do have a push coming up here, so I'll look at that in a second here. But there's definitely a possibility for a fight coming out. I mean, again, you see Cersei, she's literally in her well while they're fighting, but that's because that's the whole concept here with this. So. Amun-Ra in those front lines, he has that rebirth, obviously so tanky, 3,100 life that he currently has right here, so not an easy choice to go on here but they may feel forced to if he's going to pressure their base. Charging strikes from Dark Liddy. Going in really aggressive right here, but wanted that attack speed in. Was the right choice. Meanwhile, Sheepstick got a Wild Soul. There's the Undying. Here comes the Arcane Vortex. There we go with Sandwraith. So we're going to see some interaction here. Is Cersei able to get Sandwraith? She is using it, I believe. We'll see if the counter comes out. Yes, it does. She got the ultimate, and she got the Resto Stone, and that could absolutely do it. Wild Soul gets killed. He is not buying back. Sandwraith buys back immediately as he dies, but nobody dies on the side of 2-0. Here we go with another ultimate from Sandwraith. The fear effect working, and now he's trying to chase Amon-Ra. Getting away again, still has that rebirth. They do eventually pick off Cersei and Deadwood, but the cores are still well alive here for the Hellborn side. Dark Liddy going back in now. Charging strikes on a Sandwraith, dropping a half-life. The Undying is on him currently. Dark Liddy is getting low actually, but not low enough. Okay, she does go down in the end. It's just chaos here again to finish it. Amon-Ra, man, to fall in here. No, the life regen is just enough right there. Unbelievable. For Skura, here comes the Path of Destruction. However, he's going to miss. But they get the racks in. He is going to stay alive barely at the end of it. What a fight there.
So many buybacks were used.
Yep.
I think Embraid, did he buy back twice there? Or I believe he did.
I think, no, he bought back earlier, so he only used one.
Did he buy back earlier?
He
okay,
did, yeah.
So even then, one buyback for him and for Sandwraith, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was a lot committed by this Legion team to defend their racks, and they didn't even defend it, so... big fight there for 2-0, and that could almost be the game if another fight like that could happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and going back to your point about Evil Corporation, and they definitely would like a sweep here because, yeah, they're 0-2-1 going into this. The 3 matches, they split against BMG, they split against Mystery Gang, and they lost to Fresh, actually, 2-0. So, yeah, they still have sync. They still have complexity. I mean, they still got, obviously, very quality teams on top of this Nightmare Knights here. To face off against. So a split here could really be setting themselves up for a very possibly not finishing top 4. Almost getting a little worried about a bottom 2 finish, which again would be absolutely something if coming from the defending champions here. So it's still a lot of time, a lot of matches to be played, but that is what is on the line here for these teams.
Yeah.
And unless something... Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it would be pretty bad for ECX to not make the playoffs at this point, because I was actually just looking at the standings and points-wise, and Complexity, Sync, and ECX are on top of each other. There's like 400 points that separate them, so, I mean, if you know, they don't make the playoffs, they're going to fall behind pretty far.
Yeah. That's a good point, too. Yeah, points are always something to keep in the back of your mind as well, on top of that prize pool of monies. And the pause here. Nothing has been said, and usually when that happens, you'd like to think it's a bit of strategy pause coming out. But, I mean, 2-0 is the one that paused here, and I would think from their perspective they're feeling pretty good. You mentioned a lot of those buybacks being used. Sandwraith, the biggest one, now Midas being out of them on top of that. And it took those to just barely hold and kind of not really in the end, because the rack still died. Amon-Ra did stay alive and was able to get out of there. So Evil Corporation, they got their work cut out for them. And again, I was also kind of keeping an eye on the whole Cersei interaction. And Sandwraith did not drop items or anything like that either when he did ulti. So I was wondering if we were going to see that. It didn't look like that did happen. Cersei was able to get the Resto Stone Sandwraith, I'm pretty sure. Thus able to double ultimate with that Staff of the Master even. So it seems like that they're going with the mentality of he needs to kill her or else she will get the Sandwraith. And if he doesn't kill Cersei, basically, then I don't know if they have a good shot at winning these fights.
Yep, because now I mean, if Cersei can take over Sandwraith, it's now a 4-core lineup. And it's brutal. So, yeah, he has to actually kill this Cersei, and he has to commit a full ulti to it. So,
yeah.
Even if he's in the well, like, he has no choice. They will lose otherwise.
We'll see here what the deal is. Oh, let's take a look at the other series. It looks like it might be finished, actually. The one we originally were casting, so apparently we would have ended up jumping into this one anyways. Wow, 20-minute victory for Night. No, never mind, for Fresh. I had to think about that for a second. Almost. No, it was Fresh that won Game 2, though, and so it ends up being a 20-minute victory for them. So, yeah, I got to say I'm definitely pleased with the decision here to happen to jump into this one, so thanks to
Yeah.
Catlamine's internet power going out.
Wow.
We're able to go over to this one here.
Raw just full on purchased the Frostfield plate, and I think he has over 50 armor now. Oh, 41, but still, he's not dying to this Wild Soul Sandwraith anymore.
No. Yeah, we saw in that last fight too, the regen when that kicks in. It's just ridiculous how he can barely stay alive. It's so hard to finish him off there. So, yep, Amon-Ra is something here. Amon-Ra is something. So, 2-0 here, trying to complete what would be I don't know if you want to call it an upset necessarily. Again, this is a 2-0 team that is coming off a third-place finish last cycle, and they did take Evil Corporation to 3 games in the losers bracket finals before dropping to them in the end. So there is also that. I mean, they were 1 game away from going to the grand finals.
True.
Last cycle even. So, but looking impressive here with some unorthodox picks to say the least. The Amon-Ra being that. And it's working. Oh, Amon-Ra, he did catch him, right? Yeah, he did actually catch him here. He was trying to port away. Caught him with the Arcane Vortex. He does have a rebirth.
They are committing a lot to this, and they haven't killed him.
This is 5 heroes,
Oh my
and he's
God.
not going to die. He goes back in. Unbelievable. They're going to clean up the Legion side. They kill Wild Soul. And the rest are going to scatter away. You do see Sandwraith with his double ultimate right here to just save them. He actually did end up killing Cersei, by the way, so that's the good news.
Cersei kill him.
Okay.
But he actually might be in trouble.
Oh, yeah, she was way back there. Yeah, she wasn't at the well at that time.
They saw him, I believe.
Oh, just misses there. 2 seconds on the portal key, but no, I think Sandwraith is going to get away, actually. But Amon-Ra lived.
Oh, he just sat there and just tanked 5 heroes beating on him and didn't even proc his ultimate. There's just, I don't even know what ECX does against that. There's nothing. He's got 41 armor.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you
get a hard
do?
cons.
I guess so. I mean, he has no magic armor, so yeah. I mean, in all honesty, it wouldn't be a bad pickup by Imba Boy. I mean, knowing him, I mean, I think he has gone Harkons definitely a bunch of times. So.
Oh yeah. No, I think that is the obvious choice. And granted, then that means it's not like this is just Amon-Ra over here. There is still the Dark Lady who does have a wing bow and her shrunken and a lot of damage output. So I'm sure the Savage Mace is also looking appealing, but
yeah, I mean, both their cores are almost 600 GPM. That's so much farm in 2 heroes. It surprises me how both those heroes are almost 600 GPM.
yeah. But then you even do have Dark Lady, who's at 29 armor basically herself, which she even has the demonic breastplate aura on her. So yeah, I think Harkons is the way to go if you're this Wild Soul, if you're this Sandwraith here, because yeah, you need to get through that armor somehow, and that is the obvious item for that. So if they want a chance of winning this game, I definitely think that's going to be their only shot, because it's clearly a game that they're not setting themselves up to win right now, but gonna try everything they can. Midas puzzle box purchase, a very late puzzle box purchase, but I guess you know what? It is pretty good against Amon-Ra. that's an interesting thing there. How his mana, when the less he has, the less he'll res with his life. So there is that.
Yeah. It could help a little bit. I don't think it'll help enough because, I mean, you saw right there, they couldn't even proc his ulti. So, I don't know if that's the biggest deal in the world, but, yeah, I mean, I think the Harkons, like you said, is actually their best case scenario, but I don't think Imba Boy can farm it.
Here's that middle push. So he's gonna put they're gonna put ECX on the spot here. Yeah, good luck. We mentioned Harkons, but yeah, they just don't have time to even remotely get that. They're gonna have to fight here some way, somehow. Look at Cersei. She's in the base in the meantime. Imba Boy, look at all the illusions she has herself, too, kind of protecting her. And I guess to counter push. Here we go. Cersei, she is able to take over Sandwraith, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe she didn't, actually, but all the shrunken heads going up, and now the counter coming out.
Imba Boy's in the base.
Oh, he's actually chasing her, yeah. they're going at it in the base over there. Meanwhile, there's a skirmish at the Legion base. And again, to really no one in surprise, Elmore team. Well, actually, it's a decent hold here from ECX, and I'm looking at it. Amon-Ra will go down. Rebirth going to be popped right here. Dark Lady is killed. Amon-Ra just going to kill the Rax. He is very likely going to fall after. Now he has plenty of gold for a buyback, though, which he's going to sit on for now, of course. But they do get the melee Rax. But yeah, Impa goes to the Hellborn base onto Cersei, and he couldn't even kill her, though, is the funny thing.
Yeah, I mean, he literally, I mean, Cersei was
Oh, no, he
in
did
the
kill her. I'm sorry.
No, he did, outside
Okay.
the well, but he used his first ulti, and Cersei took it over, or was trying to take it over, and then poured it into the fountain.
Yeah.
So Impa wanted him dead. So, yeah, I mean, but Impa almost died. He was like about 350 HP, but yeah, I was watching him the whole time to see how he actually interacted with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, they won the fight at the base. I mean, they lost the Rax, but I mean, they did very well.
Again, it's insane to think that he has to do that to deal with the main support on the other side, but that's how that interaction works. But as we see here, I mean, look at this. They're counter-pushing now, and ECX actually has a shot here to make something happen now. Here's the jump from Amon-Ra as he bought back. Sammy to the background, going into Cersei. She's trying to get away. She cannot, though. Cersei will stay dead. And they're breaking through, actually. Amon-Ra's going to die. He buys back a second time. Dark Lady comes in, though, and Impa is going to be picked off. He does not have enough money for a buyback. They did get the Rax, but now they're going to be on their back foot once again. Tankafet, he's dead. He does have a buyback as Moira. She barely escapes. Porting back to base right there. So they get the Rax, though. Evil Corporation not going out without a fight, man. There is hope, actually.
I am beyond surprised that they just did that. I mean, they got the melee Rax, and they didn't. I mean, they lost Impa, and yeah, he doesn't have a buyback, but for what this game is, that was a very good fight. And I mean, yeah, 2-0 is going to get the token here onto Dark Lady, who also has 7k gold. So looking to see what his items go.
Yeah, I don't know what his plan is. I mean, he just got the token right here. I don't know. That's definitely curious to see him pulling up so much gold here. Honestly, I think splitting up the Frostburn, getting the Frostwhip and Geobane combo. Of course, he would have to get rid of. Oh no, he could do that once the token does wear out, even. So, I think that could be probably one of his best bets here. But
yeah,
either that or
because he isn't the solo carry here. I mean, he has the South, he has the Raw, so. Getting a Frostwolf Geos and kind of just tanking up wouldn't be the worst option in the world. He could just go the all-in Rift Shards as well. Because, I mean, a big crit on an entire team would be huge.
Bottom lane down here, Lord Self-Force leading the way with Dark Lady and Amon-Ra. They are going to join forces. Everyone but Cersei once again. We've already been over that and what the deal with that is, so that's going to continue, of course. Post-haste on Wild Soul.
Cersei's literally just sitting in the fountain.
So they're trying to backdoor here, by the way. They got the Veiled Ra on Midas. He's heading up here with that puzzle box, as we mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah, this...
That's exactly what they're doing.
For the range tracks, it might not just... Okay, he warded.
Look at what Wild Soul bought, too. Not only the post-haste, but he goes Elder Parasite. So,
They're going to base race. They're going to go for a base race here. 100% full-on commit.
Oh, this is going to be something. Here we go. He's post-hasting. He's going to the middle of the Legion team.
They're going to stop TPs with Sandrate. This is actually...
They don't have TPs either on a couple of heroes even. So, yeah, this is a commitment. We're going all at it. This is a base race 100% right here. Tankafet in the middle. The other Parasite going through. Cersei is dead. And ECX actually has a shot right here to win this game. I think they're going to win it. Unbelievable! Evil Corporation is going to take Game 2 over 2-0 with an insane backdoor strategy. Unfreaking believable. Impa spamming the cheese. Obviously excited about that one, as he should be. What a strategy. What an idea. And that worked beautifully. That could not have gone any better for Evil Corporation right there.